Have you ever woken up, heard the news of someone passing away, and suddenly felt that life is shorter than we think? This morning, I came across a story of a 71-year-old man who passed away quietly in his sleep. 71. Some people would say that's a good age. Others might say it was still too soon. But no matter how we look at it, moments like these shake us. They make us stop, reflect, and ask ourselves a simple but powerful question. What can we learn from a life that has just ended? When we reach our 60s and 70s, life begins to take on a new rhythm. The rush of youth slows down, and every day feels a little more precious. But sometimes we forget that. We think tomorrow will always come, and we keep putting off the things that really matter. The truth is, none of us knows how much time we have left. And that's not meant to scare you, it's meant to remind you that today, right now, is still yours to live fully. The first lesson we can take from stories like this is about health. This man's passing makes us think about how we treat our bodies every single day. At 60, 65, or 70, it's easy to say, oh well, it's too late to change now. But the truth is, it's never too late. Even the smallest shifts, a short walk after dinner, drinking more water, getting a good night's rest can extend the quality of our days. Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling just a little stronger, a little lighter, a little more alive. All because of one simple change you made today. That's how powerful small steps can be. Another thing this man's story teaches us is about relationships. Think about it. At the end of life, what really matters? Not the money in the bank, not the big house, not the car you once drove. It's the people who sat with you at the table, the ones who called to check in, the laughter you shared. Many of us, as we grow older, find our circles getting smaller. Friends move away, loved ones pass on, and sometimes loneliness creeps in. But that doesn't mean we have to let it stay. A phone call, a kind word, an unexpected visit, these are the things that keep our hearts alive. And when the day finally comes for us to say goodbye, those moments will be the legacy we leave behind. And then there's the lesson of purpose. At 71, this man had lived a life, but did he live it fully? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. What makes you feel alive? Is it painting, gardening, teaching your grandchildren something new? Too many people stop chasing purpose after retirement, as if that chapter is over. But here's the truth, purpose is what keeps us alive. Waking up with something to look forward to, even something small, gives the day meaning. Without it, we start fading, not just physically, but inside our spirit. So, when I think of this 71-year-old man, I don't just feel sadness for a life lost. I feel a call to action, a call for all of us to stop waiting, stop delaying, stop assuming we have endless time, because time is the one thing we never get back. When we hear about someone passing at 71, we might think to ourselves, that's not too old, he still had years left. And you know what? In many cases, that's true. People today are living well into their 80s and 90s. So the real question isn't just how long we live, but how well we live. Longevity without quality isn't much of a gift. And that's where the second set of lessons comes in. One of the things that stands out is how often we ignore our own bodies. We shrug off chest pain, dismiss fatigue as just getting older, or push aside the signs our body is practically begging us to notice. But here's the thing, our body is like a faithful friend. It whispers before it screams. A little stiffness, unusual tiredness, changes in appetite, these are not just random quirks, they're signals. This man's passing reminds us that listening to those signals can sometimes make the difference between adding years to our life or quietly losing them too soon. So instead of ignoring those little whispers, let's treat them with respect. Book the checkup, ask the doctor, take the walk. Small actions taken today could save us from regrets tomorrow. But health is only one piece. Another lesson is about emotional baggage. Think about how many of us carry grudges, old hurts, or regrets from the past. Maybe it's a sibling you haven't spoken to in years. Maybe it's words you never said to your spouse. Maybe it's forgiveness you never gave yourself. When we see someone's life end, we're reminded that those grudges will not matter in the end. What will matter is whether we allowed love to have the last word. Imagine if today you picked up the phone, reached out, and said, "I miss you." That one act could bring peace not just to you, but to someone else who might be carrying the same weight. Life's too short to drag yesterday's pain into tomorrow's possibilities. Another powerful lesson is to treasure the ordinary. We often think happiness comes from big moments, vacations, celebrations, milestones. But when people reflect on their lives, they rarely talk about the big things. Instead, they remember the small details, the smell of fresh bread in the morning, a grandchild's laugh, the quiet walk in the park at sunset. This man's passing reminds us not to overlook those everyday miracles. Sometimes we wait for something big to make us happy, forgetting that joy is already hidden in the little things happening all around us. The sound of the birds outside, the warmth of a cup of tea, the hug of someone who cares. These are treasures we can enjoy every single day, if only we choose to notice them. And there's one more lesson we can't ignore: the importance of leaving something behind that matters. Not money or property, but meaning. Every word you speak, every act of kindness, every smile you give, it becomes part of the legacy you leave. Think of it this way: when you're gone, people won't just talk about what you owned. They'll remember how you made them feel. Did you inspire them? Did you encourage them? Did you teach them something that will live on? The 71-year-old man may no longer be here, but the way he lived his days is what will echo through the lives he touched. So maybe the biggest takeaway is this: life is fragile, but it's also full of opportunities. Even in our later years, every sunrise is an invitation to do better, love deeper, and live wiser. We can't change the years already past, but we can shape the ones ahead, starting with the choices we make today. When a life ends at 71, it's natural to feel a mix of sadness and reflection, but more than anything, it's a reminder that we are still here, still breathing, still capable of shaping our story. That truth alone is powerful, because as long as we wake up in the morning, we're given a chance to make today matter. One of the lessons that often surfaces in times like this is gratitude. It's easy to focus on what we've lost, what aches, what we wish were different, but gratitude shifts our vision. Instead of noticing the wrinkles, we start noticing the wisdom. Instead of complaining about the slower steps, we start appreciating that we can still walk. Imagine how differently life would feel if every morning began not with worrying, but with a quiet thank you for the roof over your head, the food on your table, the people who care about you. Gratitude doesn't erase the challenges, but it does make them lighter to carry. There's also the lesson of courage. Growing older takes courage. Facing illness takes courage. Even letting go takes courage. But courage isn't about being fearless, it's about choosing to keep moving forward, even when things feel uncertain. This man's passing tells us that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet determination to get up, to keep going, and to live with dignity, no matter what comes our way. And that kind of courage inspires everyone around us. We can also learn about presence. Too often, we live in the past, replaying memories, or in the future, worrying about what's next. But the truth is, all we really have is today. Think about how differently your day feels when you're fully present, when you listen to someone without distraction, when you taste your meal instead of rushing through it, when you pause just to watch the sunset. Presence turns ordinary minutes into sacred moments. If we want to honor the life of someone who's gone, one of the best ways is to be fully alive in our own. And perhaps the most important lesson is love. At the end of it all, love is the thread that ties our lives together. It's what softens our regrets, gives meaning to our struggles, and leaves footprints long after we're gone. Loving yourself enough to care for your health. Loving others enough to forgive, to give, to show up. Loving life enough to embrace it fully, even when it's imperfect. That's the legacy worth leaving. So, what can we truly learn from a man who passed at 71? We can learn to take better care of ourselves, to cherish the people in our lives, to forgive, to treasure the small joys, to be courageous, to stay present, and to love without hesitation. His life is a reminder that every day counts, and his death is a gentle nudge for us to live with more intention. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this: you still have time. Time to call someone you love, time to take that walk, time to smile at a stranger, time to do something that brings you joy. Don't let it slip away. Life is fragile, yes, but it is also beautiful, and it is still yours to live. If this message touched your heart, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share your experiences, your lessons, or even just one thing you're grateful for today. And if you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe, so we can keep reminding each other of the beauty and strength in growing older. Here's to living fully, loving deeply, and leaving behind a life that matters at any age.